Are you live?
We're here, we're live, we're back.
We're back. Amazing. So today is a very special day according to astrology, right? So today's the day where Saturn and Neptune get to hang out after a very long time apart. And apparently that's the point, right? They sit in Aries, like 0 degrees Aries. So not even like in the middle of Aries or at the end of Aries, but in the very beginning, point zero. So if ever there was a good day to start something new, today might just be the day. Yeah, share a little bit with us. Sorry, while I burn eucalyptus like crazy over here on my side. I've got a massive cold. I'm just cleansing the space. Share with us. What are some of the things that are resonating with you about this whole Saturn, Neptune, Aries thing? Because it's new to me that you're as much into astrology as here. Well, it seems like I am too. So please open up, share what's resonating with you.
I mean, it's something that, according to a lot of astrologers, is something that most of us have not experienced in our lifetime. I think with a star that hasn't been experienced for 6,000 years since they started cuneiform writing, the Sumerians, which is like the beginning of writing. So there's obviously some sort of big beginning now. How it plays out, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I think that's the point of this this podcast is beginnings. Like, how do you approach beginnings? Where do we start? Like, I think this key to any new beginnings is how do you approach it? How do you look at it? How do you act? And I think that's probably what we wanted to address today, because it's something that I've been looking into the last few weeks because I've been seeing all these things about this conjunction. But yeah, I think that's probably something that everybody needs to learn something about to a degree. I was having dinner with my friends earlier, and both of them just broke up from relationships, and also one of them is like finished a long chapter of her job, her career and stuff, and now she's like right at the beginning, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, I'm not surprised. There's so much ending's been going on, and now it's a beginning. And you have to look at it as anything is possible. This is a fresh start to a degree. It may not seem like that at first. It may seem like nothing's changed, but you will probably notice over the few months that things will start changing in your life. I guess the things that you wanted to do might start to change. Some people, their houses, their relationships, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, let's I guess get into how do we approach new beginnings.
Absolutely. Oh my God, I love all of that. And I think just connecting it with the astro side, the Western astrology side, because so Neptune is all about illusions. It's dreamy, but the shadow side of dreams is also illusion, right? And Saturn is like Saturn is like time. The time is your greatest initiator. And time is also there to kind of go like knock you on your shoulder and go, hey, you're not in your 20s. You don't have forever. So when these two things meet, we have the breaking down of illusions. And because Saturn goes over to Neptune and goes like, hey, whatever was built, whatever dreams you had that was built in something that's fake, something that actually isn't real for you, is is about time. You can no longer just sit in the dream, in the hope, in the vein. Whatever was built on something, I keep calling it fake, but illusionary. We all have that. We all do that. We're human beings. But the fact that it happens in Aries, so that's about our new beginning thing. The fact that it happens in Aries gives it something extremely innocent. So Aries is the first of the, we call it the beginner. It's the first of the 12 signs. And that means it's kind of like Aries comes in and Aries is like, oh, I'm here, let's go. And then later on in the zodiacs, we start to be like, oh, maybe we need to think about this a bit more. We can't just be like, boom, all the time. But there's something really refreshing about it, about this big day today, Neptune meeting Saturn. The fact that they meet in Aries gives it a freshness, a lightness, yes, also action, but it gives it a sense of innocence, which I think is what you wrote about a lot. So Mike sent over this amazing writing about new beginnings and about this having this exactly like actually always wherever you're at in your life, whether you're at a new beginning or just everyday life, can we approach each moment from the mindset of the beginner, because the beginner is actually just excited to get started. The beginner doesn't come with huge amount of luggage and baggage and reasons for why something may not work out. If you want to dive into this a little bit, Mike, over to you. I'm excited that our connection is steady. Yay.
I think a good way to describe a beginner is a child. When we are children, how do we think? Like, we think there are no limits, anything is possible. It's only, I guess, as we grow older that people tell us, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. But I mean, I've been working with a lot of kids who just graduated from college or high school or whatever over the last year, and a lot of them, they have this attitude of anything is possible and I can do anything, and I'm the
You just froze for a moment, but I'm sure. Yeah.
know what you're doing. You just came out of school album called We Were. It's about this. Anything's possible. Like, why can't I do that? I've got everything I need. Why can't I do that? And I when I first started it like that, and I approached everything, the challenges and difficulties in life, you start going, oh, okay, it can't be done like this, or people telling you it can't be done like this, and so you agree with them and you accept these as like matter of fact, and slowly we build all these just
You just froze for the last little bit, but if I can just share something, I think that everything you're saying is so true. You know that old saying, the beginner's luck. Beginner's luck, I think, is not really luck as such. I think it's exactly what you said. It's that when we begin something, when we have zero experience in something, especially when we're younger, we tend to have this idea that, we're kind of open to it, come what may, right? First time you fall in love, we're like, yes, I'm here. We don't go, oh no. All these scary things could happen, right? Like we jump into it. There's a sense of jump, leap, faith, if you will. And but it's not luck. It's us. It's our mindset. It's what we've allowed ourselves to a certain degree to experience. And I really love what you're talking about as well, that when you started your band so earlier in your life, and it's similar to when I was a dancer earlier in my life, like the energy that I came to London with at 16, I had this like now I look back and I keep wanting to connect to her, because I'm like, fuck, I was so fearless. Like it didn't even occur to me that XYZ may happen. I'm not talking about my career or not. I'm just saying I was 16, I was by myself, I had almost no money. I was living by myself or like with 500 flatmates, but people I didn't know. And that aspect of just leaping into life with that beginner's mindset is literally one of the most precious things we have. Because, like you said, you're frozen again, Mike. Please unfreeze, come back to me. That beginner's mindset. Yeah, oh, you're back. I can hear you now. Hooray. But that beginner's mindset is the one thing that stands between you and who you want to be, where you want to go. If we don't even allow ourselves to go, oh, but it may just work out, or wow, maybe I will surprise myself, maybe life will surprise me, you know? If we don't even allow ourselves to have that thought, then there's no way in hell we're gonna even take one action that's out of our comfort zone. And then nothing changes. So I love that. Okay, you're back now and you're not frozen, so speak. Let's utilize this.
Another very interesting thing that I was working with this star actress in China recently, and she told me that like every morning she surrenders. She goes, I go into the day and I surrender it. I stay open. And I think this stuck with me for some reason. It's a very very good way to go into the day, and you have your ideas of what you want to do, but at the end of the day, to be honest, we don't know what's going to happen in the day. We could experience like 1,000 different things before we even get to our goal. So I'm open, I surrender, let's see what happens. It takes away a lot of expectations and therefore disappointments, and also there's an energy about staying open. I think I was having this talk with somebody about, how we just leaving our house, we have all this like just by judging other people, we're like, oh, that person's, what are they wearing? Or that person, why that or that person, oh my god, too much makeup, or this. We're in this, we're building these like obstructions and blocking ourselves, closing the doors. Whereas we stay open and go, oh, that's an interesting choice. So that's their life. That's cool. Whatever. We're staying open. And so I think this is also key. Like as humans, we judge all the time, but it's important to stay open, because when we stay open, also achieve better things in our life.
Oh my God, I love that so much. There's an African proverb that says, when there is no enemy within, there can be no enemy without. And it's a similar thing, right? So the judgment you're talking about, right? The judgment, the ego, the mind actually does it to keep us safe. It's like, because the mind wants you to think that they are over here and I am here and here I'm safe, right? And it couldn't be further from the truth, because here you may be safe, but you're also fucking alone. And the one thing, as much as there's wholeness and divinity and all of that, spirituality, whatever, inside, what we long for as human beings is to feel connected. We actually want to feel at one. We want to feel like, ah, not just those are my people, but these are my people, right? Like all around. And I love what you're saying, like, because again, the older we get, the more we have a tendency to do what we've always done, believe what we've always believed, and that keeps us stuck because now we're no longer exploring. And so to stay, like you said, something as simple as like notice when you're judging someone else, and we all do it. Like like we're not judging you for judging, but like when you are living your house, like you said, and you're noticing instead of noticing all the things you think is wrong with the world as you're walking around in your everyday life, maybe just start to look at a few things and go, oh, that's kind of nice. Or if that's too big and too grand and too weird, maybe just like think about things within yourself that you like. Maybe it's like for instance, I love my electric vest, right? I'm in London at the moment. It's crazy cold. The electric vest, yay! It makes me feel so happy. So something as simple as that. When I notice my brain is going into judgment of others or judgments of myself, I, the way I actually pull it back is I just start to notice things that I like about either what I'm wearing or what I'm, holding, or something, a quality within myself. Because I try and bring my awareness back into myself, like back to point zero.
That's great.
Yeah. Yay. Hey.
Another thing that I also wanted to mention is, a lot of us, we go through life and we're wondering why we always end up in the same place. We go in like cycles. And the thing is, if you want to do something new, if you want to have a good experience in life, you have to make new choices. And so whenever you're given the choice of something, of course, first you need awareness. You first need to understand, okay, I'm having a choice here. And what do I normally do? Do I normally, choose this? Like in a relationship, do I normally settle for, okay, we're having, a bad relationship, but it's it's keeping me, from being lonely, so I'll settle for this. Or, an abusive relationship or whatever, or a job, for example. If we want to experience new things in life, we have to make new choices. And by making new choices, we are breaking free from these loops. I think a lot of people with relationships, especially, which I've noticed, from talking to my friends, they continue this going in this like loop. And I'm like, are you happy with that? She's no. But I'm like, then why are you making these choices? You have to pay attention to your choices and say, okay, if I'm always making this choice, what can I do differently to get out of this loop that I'm in? You have to make a different choice. Variation on the experience they're having. So first of all, start with awareness, pay attention to your choices. And second of all, try something new. Try, wear a different colored clothes sometimes. I don't know, do whatever, just order a different type of coffee, or, like just little choices, or, and eventually leading you to some more important choices to break out of these cycles. If you want to start something new and go into a new part of your dreams.
I really love that, and I actually love the especially the doability and the simplicity in starting really small. So everything in life is accumulative, and everything we decide to do or not do tells us a story about who we believe ourselves to be and what we believe is possible for us or not, right? And so the wisdom, the key to big changes starts with the everyday choices. So like you said, realizing that, if every single day you have porridge, maybe dare to do something else. And you might be like, okay, thanks, Michael and Josie. So me just changing from porridge to like, I don't know, avocado on toast, that's going to change my life. And I'm here to go, yeah, actually it will. Because over time, what you're actually telling yourself is, I am a person that have big enough awareness that I can change a habit that I have done consistently for X amount of time. I'm a person that have the abundance of mind, but also abundance of finances that I can change even just this tiny little thing. And then you start to build on that. Then it might be you have that friend that always calls you, but they actually only call you when they need something from you. They don't call you to just go, hey, how are you doing? It's not for me. I love the scales. I love that. Listen, nothing in life is ever fully like win-win, but in general, let's uh let's dance towards a bit more. Let's dance towards some more win-win. So if you notice that there are relationships in your life, could also be like you said, Mike, your work relationship. If you feel like you're giving everything to work, and work is giving you nothing back, well, the scales aren't even. And then you wonder why you don't feel good. Or if exactly, or in like a friendship situation, again, like I said, if you notice you have that one friend that always contacts you only when they need something from you, maybe stop being there for them so much. Because if you don't and you're still resenting them, the only one you can resent is not them. They're playing their part. They're supposed to be the person coming to like take from you. And if you don't change your own behavior, you can't blame it on them. They are, I love to see life as a stage, and obviously you're an actor, Mike, right? We each play our roles. So if you have a friend, it's their script to play the villain or the person that's like, I only call you up when I need you. I don't know why I'm getting a deep voice. Then like, don't blame them for playing their part. Look at your own part and go, hey, fuck, I've been playing a script. I don't want to be the role of the victim. If you want to change, like it's the teeny tiny thing. So then maybe don't, stop hanging out with that friend so much. Change your porridge to avocado. Like it's the little teeny tiny things, because then what that does subconsciously to your mind is it says, wow, I'm someone who realizes I have choice. And not only do I realize I have choice awareness, I realize that I can make a different choice. And then from making those new choices, your world starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. Ah,
Exactly. And
nice.
even like a few months ago, actually, I don't know, there was like something kind of pushing me to do this, where I started noticing the friends who were actually just like always contacting me when they needed something or needed some advice or needed something from me in general. And I was like, you never contact me when you actually want to say hi. What's that about? And they're like, what? Really? It's like some of them don't even notice it. Sometimes you should actually say something, just to sort of, and I guess make them conscious, make them aware of what you're doing, because some people just go through life and, if you don't say anything, they're going to feel like, oh, great, I can just keep calling this person when I need them. But life is a balance of energy. And if they're just taking from you, then it's not balanced, and you have to tell them that. And by telling them, you're actually helping.
100%. And what's really interesting about, I love talking about relationships, because we human beings, we so crave belonging, we so crave connection, and yet it's so often so difficult. But what is very interesting is that the connection, the contract, the dynamic, the pattern, the give and take, we create it within literally a few seconds of hanging out with another person for the first time. It's wild. Like on a nervous system level, it's so fast. And we're not even talking about soul level, soul contracts, previous lives, whatever you're into. Like on a nervous system level, like we literally like, you vibrate at a certain level, so does the other person. Your heart beats at a certain rhythm, so does the other person. Just by being in contact, even just through a Zoom, through an email, through whatever, then or through physical life, you are immediately tuning into each other. And one person will be like, I will regulate you, and the other person will be like, I will, like, I'm the chaotic one, or like it's so wild how quickly it is. Or similarly, so I'll give you personal experience. Um, I had this, like, a huge thing in my life has always been that I tended to have a lot of friends that I was helping. That's a beautiful thing. But it also gave me a role, right? It was a role that I decided to take on, right? And I felt very comfortable in the role of, like, I will hold you, I will support you, in a way I will save you because, like, what, I'm saving someone from themselves anyway. And again, like we were talking about, the only one who can change that dynamic, if I have a problem with the dynamic, I am the one responsible, because I have the awareness, hey, this is no longer working. Then I have to say something, just like you were saying with your friends, right? Whoever it is that realizes, hey, this dynamic is out of whack. And on a universal level, universal law is give and take. There must always be a give and a receiving. And so when you are the one noticing, hey, this dynamic is no longer working for me. I used to want to be the saver. Now I realize that's never my job. Then I have to put the hand up and say something, even if it means temporarily, maybe hurting the other person, because the other person will be like, hey, that's not our dynamic. Why are you changing the script? That's not what I signed up for. And so the dynamic of your relationship may change, and you have to be open-minded to the other person even going, you know what, if you're not going to be the savior, Josie, I don't want to hang out with you. And that's okay too. And so, like you said, if you realize that something is out of balance, some structure, some relationship, some whatever it is in your life that is no longer feeling nourishing, then you are the one, and you are the only one responsible for making that change. Because the other person is not, they don't have an issue, otherwise they would come to you. And if they have an issue and they don't come to you, then it's on them, right? So the only thing we're actually ever responsible for, because the only thing we can feel is how we feel. And so we have to keep that beginner's mind, to draw into our little theme of the day. Keep the beginner's mind, and just be willing, in a way, be willing to risk everything. Be willing to risk losing everything if it means no longer losing your own integrity. Like, because the only one you can't run away from is your own truth. Anyway, back to you.
Back to me. Okay. I did make some notes actually.
Yeah, let's hear them. Hey, booty.
Yeah, another thing that's helpful as well that I've noticed also is um, when okay, so when I moved into China, I'll give you an example. When I moved into China, when I first came here, people were telling me, "Oh, you can't do this. You got to do this." You know, they were giving me all their advice on what you can and what you can't do here. And one person was like, "Oh, you can't be a lead actor here. You know, like they'll never let you." And I was like, "Really? Let me see about that." And over like a few years, I became probably one of the, if not the first lead actor here in China. You know, so it's like you can listen to what other people say, but you don't need to take that as hard fact. You know, everyone has their opinions and everyone has their experiences, but that's their story and not yours. And I think this is very important, like when you're going to a new place or you're starting something new, is to not take everything that everyone else says as fact and to go in there with a clean slate, you know, and tell yourself if somebody says something to you, especially negative, you just say that's your story. And through that, every time giving you advice on something, oh, you can't do this. You're like, okay, well, that was your story, not mine. You know, like I can do it. Just because you can do it, I can do it. You know, I mean, don't be rude or anything, but you know, you just have to filter these things out in your head so that you can keep your path open. You know, because you're going into this fresh, and what happened to them is their life and their experience and their karma, whatever. But it's not yours. You have your own path, you have your own experience, and you have your own life. You know, so you don't need to listen to what anybody else says necessarily. You know, I had a friend who went to London recently, and she was like, "For," and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to give you any advice except go have fun. You know, and do your best, and anything's possible. You know, you can do anything. Just believe in it and go for it. You know, and from now on, anybody asks me advice, unless they ask me specific things, I'm going to give them that advice because I think there's been too many times when people told me things were impossible or difficult to do, but you know, I never listened to them anyway. But there's some that just stick to you subconsciously and become your, I guess, your framework for things. But it's better if you go into something with a fresh attitude and a anything is possible attitude. So, you know, when people go to somewhere that advice, you know, just go for it. Anything's possible.
I love that so much. And it's also like just touching on that thing of we do become our environment. You know, it's even as someone who's like, I'm far from perfect, I always say that, but like, I'm so like, you know, this is what I believe, and I want to believe that anything is possible. And I'm like so much on that, and I have so many practices that to help supports me in that, and I have so many friends that are on that same wavelength. And even me, like even so, I still feel like I'm fighting with my own narrative at times, right? Like there's me against my narrative, and my narrative is like, "Hey, Josie, this is what happened. Don't you remember?" And then I'm like, "Yeah." Doesn't mean it has to happen again. And also, I'm not the same me. And then number two, there's also like life is here. Like you said, we leave our house every day and we get so set on like, and then this is gonna happen and you are gonna call and da 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 and like what the fuck? Sorry, my language. Like, what do we know? Like, we are here for such a short time. I always talk about death, but this is important. Like, at any time, any point, things get taken away to us, but also people come into our life, right? Like you and I, we hadn't seen each other for like how many years, and all of a sudden now we're like hanging out once a week. It's amazing, but
That's great.
you could only do that because we were open to it, right? If you had some kind of story in your head, but you were like, I don't want to see Josie. She did this one thing to me, or I did to you, whatever. Then this wouldn't be happening, right? And so we have, like, I love this, like you said, like if someone asks you about advice, oh my God, what have you got going on?
I don't have a Buddha, so I got a horse.
Buddha, look at look at Mike's. Oh, so cute. This is hilarious. She's, by the way, I mean, she's not always on my lap, but she is on my lap a lot. It is. I hope you get to meet her, Mike. She is insanely cute. And you know she's not even ours, right? This is the funniest. I know. I love your horse. What's your horse called? Mike, what's
called?
Yes, I love it. Oh, amazing. Okay, anyway, just this whole thing of like, we are our environment. We are the people we spend the most time with. However, like, you know, trying to be strong-minded, strong-willed. Like, you know, we just got back from Bangkok, as you know, and London is crazy cold. Think about your environment, the people you hang out with, the information you consume. Not only because I can stand outside in the snowstorm here, right? Like it's crazy cold, and I can wear all my 500 layers, and I can go feel the warmth, Josie, be the radiate the sun, right? But I cannot stop the snow from falling, right? So yes, I can. There are things I can do to try and keep my own sunshine going here. But if my environment is snow, then I will only be able to keep, like, it's going to be really exhausting for me to keep my heat and my warmth going, right? And I can only maintain it for a short amount of a period of time. And so it's the same thing with the people you hang out with. You can be the most positive mind, the most anything is possible, but if you continue to hang out with people that tell you all the things you can't do, all the things you are not, that life is shit, that, you know, these things don't happen for people like us, this kind of stuff, then it's like, imagine, it's like you're standing in that snowstorm and you're in your electric blanket, but the electric blanket is going to run out of battery, right? It's going to be exhausting, and you're only going to be able to maintain it for so long. So your people are really your environment. Yeah. Yes, Mike.
Yep. You become like 3 people closest to you.
I don't know, but one of those two. Yeah, but it's true.
Well, you do notice that. You do notice that if you're around certain people enough, then you start copying them, and
Oh no, Michael. Okay, you're back now. You just froze for a moment. Could you tell us about the thing again?
positive people, and I guess people who are.
Oh my, you froze. You look very cute. You're smiling away, but you did freeze.
That us to.
What was that last sentence? So you said positive people and people who will inspire us to. What did you finish? Oh, I love that host. This is so sweet. No, but this is true, and it's really something we all have to think about, and it's a good time. It's a good day to think about it today. Here, the 0 degrees in Aries. Oh my God, look at that horse. This is so cute. Mike, I am going to draw an oracle card for us. So, for you know, whoever is watching, listening, and whatever time this recording, yeah, I'm going to grab a card. So, whoever is watching, and even if you're not watching live, but you are listening to this later on in your life or you're watching later, this recording finds you exactly at the moment where you need to hear it. And this is going to be the card. So this is the card. Oh, it might need to be the other way. Here we go. So this is the card, and I can see a man, but otherwise I can't really see what this is. Oh, it says the healing stones, tenderness, care, gentleness, and nourishment. So whenever you receive this card, this is just a beautiful message for you to spend a little more time with your inner self, to nourish, to be gentle, to be compassionate, perhaps to draw your awareness inwards and downwards a little more. Spend a little more time with the person you are when your eyes are closed and no one else is watching. Yes. And finally, also just a reminder that so this oracle deck, it's all about the stones. And what's great about stones is that at times it's like a winter in our life. When it's winter, it can feel as if nothing is happening, right? Because we can't see all of the processes that are taking place below the surface of the hard, cold soil. But below the surface, everything is coming together. This is a time of preparation. So just a gentle reminder to be really kind and really gentle, really compassionate with yourself. And just because you haven't seen it right now doesn't mean that spring isn't on its way. Michael, over to you. Are you there? Okay. I can kind of see you going a little bit blurry. I don't know if this China-London connection is having a moment, but it's been really fun hanging out with you as always. You still there?
I think yeah, can you hear
Yes,
me?
you're back on.
Hello?
You're back on.
Am I frozen? Am I frozen out?
No, I think you're back on. You're a bit shadowy, but I can kind of hear you. Yes.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah. You know, Mark, I almost want to do like a show about this. I think this is the cutest, the sweetest podcast. These like weekly. I think
The what you just what you were just touching on just before was great. It's something that I've also been learning a lot in my life.
Mike, we've lost you. I can see you, but I can't hear you at all. Try and say something again. Hello? Are you there again? Okay. Well, I think next week we're going to be doing this earlier in the day because if we do it early here in the UK, then in China, yeah, apparently the Wi-Fi is a little bit better. So next week we're going to try and do this earlier, probably around 9 a.m. or something, so that okay, yeah. Yes, okay. Mike is back. It's like you're a ghost. Okay, we've got him, so speak, yes. Michael, over to you. Let's wrap this one up because I think we're losing you too much. Okay, well, next week we will be back with another Limitless with Mike and myself and Buddha and hopefully Mike's gorgeous horse as well. We will be doing it in the morning, so check out the channel. We'll put it up on our Instagrams as well. Josie McGrail 12 and Michael Koltes. Are you back, Mike? Say something before we wrap. You're saying something, but we can't see. I can't hear anything. So thank you so much to everyone watching. We can't wait to be back here next week. Check out Michael Koltes on Instagram and Josie. Yes, you're here now. Okay, say something. Yes. Hello. So cute. Oh, Buddha. Hello. Oh, hey, that's like now you're naked. There we go. Okay, Mike. We'll see you next week. Take care. Yay. I can hear you now, but you've been frozen for like 6 minutes. No, I can't hear you at all. Okay. I'm going to close this one down. We'll see you next week. Better internet next week. Have the best new beginning.